to maintain quality and performance and accuracy, but a lot of mundane tasks can be executed by the agent itself at scale. So that's what enables that sort of scale from 1 million to 6 million, for example. And so we're very excited about that. The other thing that I would call out is a long-time investment with the World Economic Forum in a platform called Uplink that has various innovation challenges and inspiring entrepreneurs from around the world to focus on social and environmental challenges, connecting them with funders, customers, technologists like Salesforce. And so I welcome you all, if you don't already know about that program, to engage there.
Sure. Suman Sinha, CEO and founder Renew, a company which is almost synonymous with India's shift to cleaner technology when it comes to energy. The work that Renew does is remarkable at not just the India scale, but at the global scale. But if we were to look at the transition to energy, clean energy, at the grassroots level, what are the opportunities you believe that exist for small entrepreneurs looking to actually transform the lives of their communities?
Yes, thank you, Vishnu, and thank you, Honorable Chief Minister, sir, for having all of us here. It's a real pleasure to talk on this topic because I think your concept of one family, one entrepreneur really resonates with me personally. When I was growing up, everybody in my family had to get a government job. That was the way forward. I was sort of the only person who got into entrepreneurship. So I think that's the way forward. Unfortunately, in India, a lot of people still feel that getting a government job is what they have to aspire to. And that's why I think your focus on creating more entrepreneurs really is very good, because we have to get people to start creating value, to start creating new opportunities, not just for themselves, but if one entrepreneur is successful, they can create many more jobs as well. So it actually becomes something that can really proliferate much more broadly as people are successful. Vishnu, your question on clean energy is very relevant. As you all know, we're undergoing this massive energy transition right now. We have to find ways of developing, first of all, a large mass of people who are trained and skilled in these new areas, whether it is as solar technicians installing rooftop solar solutions on homes, or whether it is people who are working in big, huge solar factories, or whether it is people who are doing operation and maintenance of large utility scale projects in the field. All of those are new jobs that are emerging. And then, of course, there are other user areas like the electric vehicle industry, storage, and so on. So there are many new areas that are really emerging in our sector, which require us to have many more trained people. And I'll give you a stat. In the solar manufacturing industry last year, the attrition rate was almost 40%, because as new capacities are getting set up, everybody was just hiring from each other. There just weren't enough trained people to go around. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for us just to train people into a lot of these newer areas. At the same time, we also have in India a lot of people who are working in the existing energy sector, in the fossil fuel sectors. We have to take them and retrain them also. And so one of the things that we have done is, with IIT Dhanbad, which, as you know, operates in the coal sort of area of the country, we've actually set up a skilling program or a reskilling program for coal-based workers to see how we can redeploy them into the clean energy area. Similarly, we've also set up a program to train salt pan workers, mostly women, in Gujarat, and again train them as to become solar technicians. Now, these are things that we have to really, really replicate very, very broadly all across India. And one of the things that we were discussing with the Honorable Chief Minister was how, is it possible for us to set up a university or a skilling center in Andhra Pradesh, where we can actually, because Andhra is going to become a big center and hub for clean energy, whether it's solar, new solar plants, manufacturing, or new wind and solar projects and so on. So we need people for all of that. So we need to be able to set up those kinds of centers in collaboration with the state government and see how we can actually generate many more people and then replicate those centers in other parts of the country as well. So I think there are lots of opportunities, but we all need to collectively put our heads together to try to make them happen. And I think that's something that we're working on.
Ms. Nilekani, in your work, you focus a lot on non-market enablers. What are non-market enablers, and how are they critical in what we are talking about.
Thank you,
inclusive
Vishnu.
growth.
Thank you to the Honorable Chief Minister for inviting me here. Yeah, my whole theory is that markets and the state, all the people who come from the markets and the state come from society, the Samaj. So the more you strengthen Samaj, the better the crop of people that join the market and the state. So all my work over the last 35 years has been to strengthen the institutions and the moral leadership of the Samaj and to enable Samaj to have its own potential amplified with dignity. So I would say in this case that it's a wonderful idea to have every family feeling secure to explore the tremendous entrepreneurial energy that exists in Andhra Pradesh, for example. So to me, this is a real opportunity to strengthen Samaj through this program also. Because when you have a strong Samaj, sir, what the Sarkar needs to do then is to just unleash that entrepreneurial energy which exists by reducing unnecessary risk. Our people are ready to take risks. They have huge risk appetite, especially our poor people. But they have to take unnecessary risk because there's not safety. For example, for women, there's a social distance between her and the state. So how do you enable safety, public infrastructure, so that she can be the real entrepreneur that she wants to be? To me, there's huge opportunity in another way. You have 1,500 kilometers of coastline. You have forests. You have the Deccan Plateau. There is huge opportunity, maybe especially for women, I hope, to become environmental stewards while improving their economic livelihoods. And I think these are the new opportunities that are going to come because the ecology is at the absolute base of the economy, and the more we can enrich and sustain our ecology, the more opportunities, especially for grassroots entrepreneurs, to be able to find new pathways, especially enabled by technology. As you know, at XF Foundation, some of our teams are working on, for example, through the digital public infrastructure, enhancing it with skills, through ONDC, Open Networks for Digital Commerce, enabling entrepreneurs to discover opportunities. We have a new thing called Blue Dot. You know, like the blue dot on where you are locating, say, an Uber driver. So that idea transformed for one family, one entrepreneur will look like this, that a woman with a skill or any entrepreneur with a skill or a product has to be found. And so he or she becomes a blue dot on a platform and is able to advertise, I am here. You can find me, and this is what I can offer you. So we have started some work on this. In addition, with the Chief Minister's office, our teams are also working on personal tutoring at a high level with IIT Madras, because you need a different kind of skill set, and maybe, I don't know, Nigel will talk to what's happening in AI. What is the future of jobs? What is the future of entrepreneurship? It's going to be uncertain. We need to teach our young people to learn how to learn. To learn how to develop new skills as the complex world changes. That's what you're trying to do, sir, with your government. I hope it will happen soon. But these were some of the ideas. Continuous lifelong training, because the world is changing too fast and the future of jobs and entrepreneurship is changing. We have to let people change with that. Continuous thinking through our natural capital and how we can use that to create economic livelihoods, and looking at women, especially women, how can we reduce the distance between the woman, the state and the market. Thank you.
I love the blue dot and your mention of it, because it reminds me about the red dot on our NDTV logo. Yeah. The red dot, which we've had forever, is a bindi, and it symbolizes empowerment, which has been the core of. It's essentially the same as what you are talking about. Mr. Andrea, you know, it's all very well to talk about grassroots level growth, but there has to be an ecosystem that exists alongside infrastructure development, structural architecture, supply chains, access to markets. So the ideas we have are great, but if I was to be a cynic, I would say that, you know, how does one actually get this done? Who's going to pay for it? What are the supply chains that are required? So in as much as we have ideas, what about the back-end architecture?
Yeah, thank you. And Honorable Chief Minister, thank you very much, both for inviting us here, but also for the vision you're sharing. I'm very excited by this idea because as I was sharing this idea with my colleagues around the world, they got excited too, and they said, look, if this works, it's a model not just for other Indian states, it's a model for the world, right? So I think it's excellent, and let's talk about what could go wrong. So what I wanted to share was, I'll be a bit provocative. The word entrepreneurship can lead people to think about risk-taking, can conjure up images of Silicon Valley. But really what I think we are talking about here is how do we create enabled financial independence, enabled entrepreneurship. And I think it's extremely important. I'll give you an example. So I was born and brought up in India, then I moved to Singapore, and then I live in Sydney right now. And if I look at the way in which the Singaporean government has approached innovation versus the way in which the Sydney government, Australian government's approached innovation, the Australian government said, we have $1 billion, does anybody have a good idea? What the Singaporean government said was, we have these 5 problems. I have $1 billion to spend on them. Does anybody have solutions for these problems? See, now this is a very important distinction. It is how do we build a system from demand side rather than supply side. Yes, we all want to train the people, we want to lower the barriers for setting up a company. All of that is absolutely right. But the last thing you want to do is create overcapacity at that scale. The last thing you want to do is have people build stuff where they can't find customers. So I would almost say that the opportunity for Andhra Pradesh is to say, which opportunity sets do we want to create value systems around, and how are we going to enable those value systems in the form of shared manufacturing facilities, distribution platforms, anchor clients, pre-approved credit lines for this type of business. I'll just end with one other example. So everybody knows Grameen and how successful it's been. Most people don't know it's not been successful in every market. And if I look at Grameen in most developed markets, Grameen Bank was launched in Australia. It had to wind down. It did not succeed. Why? Because in developed markets, people know I need to get a goat, I need to get a cow, and then once I get a goat or cow, I join a cooperative and I know how so their business model is clear to them. In Australia, they were giving funding without a clear business model. People didn't know what to do with it. So again, if you start demand back and you start saying these are the opportunities that we want to own and create the systems that people can then step into, I think that's a far more powerful way to what we're calling one family, one entrepreneur, what I'm reading as one family, every family financial independence. And I think it's a really powerful idea and one which can be a role model for the world.
Mr. Naidu, how will you implement all of these ideas, assuming you accept all of them?
First of all, I'm requesting all of them be partners with us. That is first step. So that continuous dialogue, their strengths, their organizational skills, everything we can imbibe here. As a matter of fact, as you rightly mentioned, different views you expressed. Long back around 1995, when I started IT, our madam is aware, Infosys, all these things. Nilkani has given a big gift for India, that is Aadhaar, UAID. That is the biggest contribution from him. That is a game changer even today. At the time I promoted IT, there is no clue. All over the world I went. Finally, I brought IT companies. I started engineering colleges. Then I promoted step-by-step ecosystem. Ultimately, they migrated from Andhra Pradesh to different countries. Now, 195 countries, every country there are Telugu community. How many years? Only 25 years. What is the per capita income? Highest per capita income in any country. America, if you go, highest per capita income, only these people. Even Ireland, even Netherlands, even Germany, Japan, everywhere they have spreaded now. At that time, I used to do one more experiment. I used to take entrepreneurs and prospective entrepreneurs, not with my cost. I used to take everybody along with me, one get together, local entrepreneurs of that place, my entrepreneurs. Then I used to give my presentation, this is my vision, all these things. Then I used to network our entrepreneurs with other entrepreneurs. That is where inspiration. Over a period of time, all entrepreneurs of Andhra Pradesh has become very strong entrepreneurs. Talking each other, sometimes technology or otherwise knowing each other, collaborating, so many things happen. That is where second generation entrepreneurs are very strong from Andhra Pradesh, Telugu states, not other states. As he rightly mentioned, Sinha, somebody has to take lead. Then only it will be tested, you are successful or failure. You are not taking any risk. How can you be successful? Now that is where India is moving very fast now. I wanted to go for inclusive society. Growth story should be inclusive. Financial independence you call, or otherwise one family, one entrepreneur. Just now I asked our IBM and everybody to train AI. They are having a plan of 5 million. I am asking them to train 1 million plus in Andhra Pradesh. Mega scale. Here I request you one thing, all of you. Industry, service, agriculture, everything is going on. But value addition is missing. Product perfection is missing. How to bring all these activities in structured way, organized way, that is MSME, one family, one entrepreneur.
No, in fact, sir, that sort of moves right into my next question. Value addition is missing. How do we define value addition? In fact, Sonia, that was my next question for you, because how does Salesforce measure and define metrics which actually look at business resilience and long-term viability? What's working and what's not? How do you do that?
Yeah, thank you. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is a journey we've been on for a long time. Our philanthropy has been focused on education, and this conversation is really resonating with me because over the last 2 years, we've been thinking about reskilling and upskilling and how do we have to transform our own workforce at Salesforce, but how do we help others do that? And so this idea of AI fluency, and if you Google Salesforce AI fluency, we just put out some thought leadership around what does that look like. And so I think that helps to kind of define some of the metrics of, how do you know when you've arrived? And I very much agree with my colleagues. It's a lifelong learning journey. The other thing that comes to mind is true kind of classic definition of environmental sustainability. So for us, when we think about things like regenerative agriculture, or decarbonization, or clean energy transition, we do a significant amount of tracking on our own software of carbon emissions, clean energy produced, additional clean energy to the grid, fresh water conserved or regenerated. So I think the good news is most tech companies are becoming much more sophisticated, and so are our investors, maybe most importantly, and our customers, in thinking about not only what are you delivering us from a technological outcomes perspective, but who's the company behind that and what are your practices, and really choosing to partner with companies and enterprises that are investing across the whole value chain from sustainability, inclusive growth, human rights. So we're pleased to be on that journey, and I'm so excited to see some of the largest companies in the world, folks who are here like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, etc. Some of our hyperscalers that we're so heavily reliant on
Sure.
for this digital age.
Sumant, how does one become an entrepreneur in the clean energy space?
Look, I think to talk about what Nigel was talking about, the demand side clearly is there. So I think that is one thing that is established. I think beyond that, it's a matter of taking risk. Having, I think one basic precondition for being an entrepreneur is you need to have a level of education. You need to be able to understand what's happening around you. You need to be able to sense, what are the opportunity sets around you. You need to be able to go and talk to people to raise financing and so on. So for all of that, I think education is a basic prerequisite. So I think along with the One Family, One Entrepreneur program, clearly the whole thrust on education really needs to be strengthened to the extent it isn't already there. But certainly that is an area that needs to be looked at. I think the other important thing is, risk-taking in India so far has not really been a very positive thing. Everybody has been very risk-averse in general, certainly in northern India, where I grew up, perhaps not so much in Andhra. But risk-taking is something that we need to encourage. We need to make examples of people who've tried again and been successful to prove the fact that taking risk and not succeeding there's nothing wrong with that, right? So take the stigma away from being an entrepreneur and not being successful. Because not everybody is successful. The reality is that a lot of entrepreneurs do not end up being successful. So I think the basic prerequisites of being an entrepreneur need to be fostered. Financing also, as I said, needs to be there. And then clean energy or any other sector for that matter, I think it doesn't matter. As long as you can sense what the opportunity is and are willing to take the risk of jumping out and taking advantage of it. I think that's the fundamental fact.
Ms. Nilagani, when we speak about women's empowerment, it sometimes happens independent of where the power center lies in a deeply patriarchal society that we sort of live in. So my question is, when it comes to decision-making power, when it comes to asset ownership, and not just being treated as supplementary income in a household defined by men, how do you actually change mindsets?
I think mindsets are changing. It's slower than we would like, but it's definitely changing. I think, women are in India and globally staying longer in education than men. This has changed just in the last 15 years. So also they can better see, thanks to much enabling state policy, I can only talk about India, both at the state level and at the union government level, there's been tremendous enabling policy for women. The self-help groups are just one of many, many examples. So I think in that sense, a woman who can bring economic dignity to her home automatically has a better voice. There are some exceptions, but so we do want the economic empowerment that Chris was also talking about, and which is one of their big flagship programs at the Gates Foundation. I just want to say one thing more here, that we know, as Sumant also just said, that 1 in 10 entrepreneurs usually succeed. We don't want with this program to set up 9 to fail without some kind of safety net. In the West, the free markets, they talk about free markets, but they have tremendous safety nets for their entrepreneurs. How can you imagine? So if I'm a young entrepreneur, say coming into the renewable energy sector, and I want to bring money into the family, I want dignity, I may fail the first time. How will I have the courage to go to the second time and the second time like other entrepreneurial societies do? It's because there's a societal and a state safety net that you can rely on. So I think designing that safety net so that the 9 who may not succeed will be tempted to either go back or find, because of their experience, an opportunity maybe to get a job with the 10th successful entrepreneur. Because you need to see that upward mobility pathway, whether it's a woman or a man. So just a small caution on this, that in addition to 1 family, 1 entrepreneur, we need to define the safety nets so that, yes, there is risk appetite, but you don't have to take unnecessary risk, which will completely drop you off the deep end.
Yeah. Mr. Andrew, final question to you before I come back to the Chief Minister. Regulatory frameworks also need to move to ensure that what we are talking about is a real enabler. And I'll give you a small example. I have a very, very small little business of my own. which my wife and I run in our part-time. It's in one of our hill states. And then we've come across regulation in that hill state which says that if you aren't a resident of that hill state, then you can't have this particular type of business. Despite the fact that I actually employ 2 or 3 people. And that really hurts. A small-time business person like me, I mean, it's not my primary job. But therefore, the question to you, I think, is important, that frameworks need to be the ultimate enablers. So if we're talking about grassroots and Andhra Pradesh, and perhaps India at a larger level, what's missing?
Yeah. So if you look at the ingredients, there are several ingredients, but there is identity and trust. There is the ability to start and run a business, the ability to make secure payments and get credit. All of these are trust-building frameworks. Right now, even I looked at the various states in Australia and the rate tables. One of the things, because Australia is a Commonwealth construct, every state has its own regulation. So if you operate between the states, it's actually very complicated. I know in the Indian context, setting up, because of some of my clients in the retail space, setting up a retail store has 40 approvals. So you can't expect people who are trying to keep their families going to go through that sort of opportunity. So the single window concept, the ability to leverage Aadhaar and the other concepts in order to streamline setting up. I think the way it's been characterized is people treat these small businesses as they're not just large businesses, but just at a smaller size. Sure. They can't handle that level of complexity, right? So we almost need to have contextual-based risk policies, right, which basically recognize what could go wrong if something happens here, and maybe we don't need to put all of that in place. So the policy structures are absolutely important. I would say at both ends of the business, I would call out, one, at the start of the business, and two, the safe harbor clauses and the sandboxes that we create for failure. That doesn't create a moral hazard for people to take unnecessary risks. So if I were to design it, I would design it at those two ends as critical regulatory policies to put in place.
Final word to you, sir. Lots of ideas over here, lots of hopes, certainly in Andhra Pradesh. How would you, in a sense, summarize the opportunities?
Now, I'm very happy to hear so many opinions and also how to plan further. I'm exploring some ideas with the audience also and friends also here. Safety net is a must. We have to create how to create that safety net. One is we are having an impression out of 10, 9 will fail. First of all, we have to make it how to success rate is more. Yeah. That is number one. That is where we are working, Ratan Tata Innovation Hub. Now main center and 5 zones. Then we will take it last mile district, supporting infrastructure, MSME parks, every constituency, plug and play. Somebody is coming with idea, then they will start the industry. This type of exercise we are doing. Second one, P4, we are working a concept. Public-private partnership, we are building roads, airports, everything. Now we are adding one more concept, public-private people's partnership. There, it is our responsibility to empower. You are doing as an NGO in a big way. So many people are contributing. Even CSR is available. Common man, Sinha has rightly mentioned, people are not in a position to select to become entrepreneurs. Not only entrepreneurs, we are all from middle class or below middle class. Over a period of time, we got an opportunity, we build our career step by step. Now we are talking in Davos, we are teaching good governance and also so many creative activities. What I wanted to tell, successful persons, society has given us this status. Why can't you pay back to the society? Adopt this type of families. Short term, medium term, long term, invest your time. What they need, they are not aware what is the right decision. Because of right time, they are unable to take decision. Suppose one person 10th class. Intermediate, he may not go. Then what parents will do? They will stop education. Then they will send him to the field work, labor. Then his life has gone. At that time, you can intervene for 3 years education. What type of education? Then you coach him. Then his life will be changed. Same thing, one entrepreneur, Sinha is an entrepreneur. Why can't he develop 100 or 200 MSMEs? Overall prospective, overall having potential. That is, once if you do, then they will compete with Sinha over a period of time. That is where I am thinking this type of activities we have to do. And ultimately Blue Dot, as you rightly mentioned, madam, last year International Women Day, I announced 1 lakh women entrepreneurs, micro or general entrepreneurs. We are completing now. This year I want to announce 5 lakhs. That means 500,000. Next year if I succeed, I can announce 1 million. People like you has to come there and inspire them, your success stories. This is where success will bring kick, then there will be more success. That is where I am doing this exercise. I am very happy all of you has given, even on the floor, you are having any doubts you can ask or you can give some ideas. We will adopt it, we will take to the logical.
Why don't you speak a bit loudly? And
Mic.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chief Minister here. And I am really like the concept of family and one entrepreneur, and it's connecting to my personal life where I started my career in 1998, and I was very much impressed about your initiations. And I started with 2,000 rupees salary, and when I was 18 years. So now I'm becoming an entrepreneur and given opportunity for almost 150 people. And we are working across the globe, and US and Europe and the UAE market, working with a smart government initiative. What I'm seeing is like the kind of initiatives you are taking now, it's really putting the foundation for the next 10 years. And I want to see even from the AP government or AP, like next generation Google, next generation Microsoft, or even
so
big
what's your
companies.
question, specifically, your question?
Yeah, my question is, we need, even the entrepreneurs are there, but succeeding that entrepreneurs is also very important, and also scaling that into a global market where it can give an opportunity to becoming a next generation organizations actually. So we need government support and also the organizations in industry
Okay,
and
I
economic.
I get what you're saying. Would you like to briefly answer that question? The backing of the government to
Yeah.
ensure there is success.
No, this is not only backing, we are taking ownership. Mentoring, encouraging, nurturing, bringing that ecosystem, everything we will do. One example I'm giving you. We are having 40 lakh Telugu community migrated from Andhra Pradesh to different countries. Now I am asking, wife and husband are employees. One has to start business. If you succeed, other will join. That is how we are promoting outside also this type of entrepreneurs. As you rightly mentioned, this is the exercise I am doing. Brand, how to promote. Every small brand may not have valid. How to bring common brand for all these people? Dhaka women, common brand, common marketing,
Absolutely.
product perfection, so that I can make it then easily to market, networking, global markets, and also brand is very strong. Then automatically I can put it all channels,
Absolutely.
retail channels.
Okay,
everything.
could you just pass the mic over here to this gentleman if you don't mind? Thank you so much. Just ask a question, please. Yes.
Because I will be just reading
Short
the
time.
question. Honorable Chief Minister and all the dignitaries, good afternoon and welcome to Davos 2026. Myself, I'm Imtiaz Khalsaka, an Indian born. I'm an entrepreneur in Dubai and this is our company 50 years. We have been operating in UAE, Dubai. I will come back to the question because it's related to the foreign
Go ahead with the
investment.
question, sir.
Yeah. The question is here, we are running a company in Dubai with more than 5,000 employees and we have a global partners around 250 countries across the globe. Being a foreign investor, I would like to know how Andhra Pradesh can help a foreign investor to have a one-shop window like I'm getting and enjoying in Dubai.
Same thing we are working, speed of doing business, earlier ease of doing business. As you rightly mentioned, how to do single window. Aadhaar authentication. You need not go to any office. You will get all permissions automatically. Same thing, if you can come, we will work it out. All clearances across the table, immediately we are clearing.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, one or two other
Hassle
questions.
free, happily you can do business. You will be our guest. I will keep everything real time, even land, everything. No trouble for you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry, we've completely out of time. And I'm sure there are many more questions. I'm sure the government would be very happy to answer them. But I think this is an important, a critical session. One family, one entrepreneur, reimagining grassroots enterprise for a new economic era. We've had so many ideas over here and so many solutions from the Chief Minister and the government. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us.
Thank you.